Confused and overwhelmed by social media? Wondering what the next big trend is? Would you like to get more clients and more sales through the power of social media? Welcome to the Social Media Mastery Podcast, featuring your hosts, Daniel Dayette and Ricky Shetty, and a variety of social media experts covering the latest trends in social media.
All right, welcome everybody back to the Social Media Mastery Podcast. I'm Daniel, and last episode we talked about, is Snapchat just for teenagers? Should you do it too? Can it help your business? And we found out with Andrew Simpson. If you missed that, please, by all means, go back to the podcast, tune in and check it out. This week's episode sponsor is Funnel Tracker. Create a custom dashboard for your marketing and track any tools, software, webinars, etc. Current episode topic for today, LinkedIn, the business Rolodex. How to grow and monetize your following. So today, Ricky, did you want to kind of start off by kind of introducing our guest and telling us a little bit about her?
Of course I would. First of all, thanks everyone for listening to our podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you'll get notified of all the different episodes coming up. This is something I've been looking forward to, learning all about LinkedIn. I get that question a lot in my different events and workshops and conferences about how do we use LinkedIn effectively and, how do we make the best use of it. So that's what we're going to be learning out from Narges Nirumvala. So Narges has a website called executivespeak.com, and she does a lot of speech coaching, presentation skills, and media trainings for CEO, executive teams, board of directors. She's spoken at a lot of major organizations that you'll recognize, including Government of Canada, RBC, PharmaSave, Coast Capital, Overweighty, KPMG, and many more. So Narges, fill in the blanks. So what have I missed in the intro? Tell listeners more about yourself.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I'm so excited to be here. I'm a world-renowned leadership, communication, and personal branding expert. I'm one of the top 100 leadership experts to follow on Twitter in the world. I'm also now, as of last month, one of the top 100 personal branding experts to follow on Twitter in the world. I'm also best-selling author of the public speaking book, Capture the Spotlight.
Awesome. And today we'll be talking all about LinkedIn. So we'll be going through some questions to do with how do you build up your LinkedIn strategy, how do you build up your following and connections on LinkedIn, how do you manage so many different connections, how do you engage them, and how do you convert them? And also Narges will talk about a few case studies of how it's worked for her. So let's talk about LinkedIn. A basic one-on-one, Narges. Tell us about why people should be on it, especially business owners and entrepreneurs.
So LinkedIn has to be my favorite network. When I first started my business from zero, and Ricky, you know my story, maybe I'll share it later if you've got time, but I had about 20 connections. I was unemployed and chronically unemployed. And LinkedIn, I didn't know much about it except that I had a few connections, had a really basic profile, no headshot, nothing. And I slowly built it up, and I found that it was the most authentic network because you do have to present really what's on your resume. It's like an online resume profile. And so I began putting up as much information as I could, as honestly as I could. And I really think authenticity and honesty is so important on social media because we get so much gloss. We get so much fake. My life is awesome. Look at me. And I don't do that. I try to make things as honest and authentic and straightforward as I can. And especially on LinkedIn because it's a business network. It's a professional network. So let's say I'm going to a restaurant and I'm taking a picture of my food. I would share that on an appropriate platform like Instagram or Facebook. I would not share it on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is professional. It is business. Exactly as you said, it is your online Rolodex. When I'm looking for an expert to help me in my business or collaborate with someone, guess where I go? I Google and I go to LinkedIn. I use keywords to look up the people in my network. Now, my network is not just my level 1 contacts, but everyone else you're connected to, level 1, level 2, and level 3 comes up. So it really is the online Rolodex. It's also your online resume, your online profile. If you're looking for a job, it's all of those things. So it's absolutely vital.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. I mean, nowadays everything's going digital, so a lot of people don't even need the traditional resume, the print one. Mm-hmm. They just say, "What's a link to your LinkedIn profile. So whether it's students or businesses or whether you're looking to for business partners or clients, people look at your LinkedIn. So it's definitely good to be on there and using it effectively, to the best use possible. So what would your strategy be, Narges, in terms of talking to a business owner? What advice or tips would you give them to maximize the usage of LinkedIn?
So the first thing I would start with is just having the key components for an effective LinkedIn profile. So do you have a professional headshot? Do you have your headline filled in? Do you have a summary? Do you have enough experience and education filled in? Get all the basics done and make sure you set the setting that says update your network to no. You don't want to update your network every time you change a headline or something small. So make sure it doesn't update your network, and you update everything, and you have an effective profile that can draw people to you. That's the first thing I would recommend. The second thing I would recommend is understanding the differences between LinkedIn and other networks. And I know Ricky and Dan, we were talking about this a few minutes ago. I see LinkedIn as more of a closed network than, say, Twitter, for example, or Instagram, where I connect with people on Twitter and Instagram and even on my Facebook business page, very important distinction, with people I don't know. And that's fine. That's what they're there for. They're there to grow an unlimited network. LinkedIn is not like that. LinkedIn actually has limits. Maybe we can talk about that later in the show, number one. And LinkedIn, you are meant to connect with people you know. That is very important. People you know. It is not meant to be anyone and everyone. That's why LinkedIn put limits in place.
That's a really good point there, Narges. And I think different people use LinkedIn differently. Like for me, for example, whenever I get a request, I quickly look at them, and if we have mutual connections, or if they're Vancouver-based, or if they're in the same kind of industry as me, I will accept them, even though I might not know them. So what are your thoughts on that if you get a connection request from strangers that you do not know yet?
I agree to some degree. So I'll give you some personal examples. So as Ricky said earlier, I'm a paid professional speaker. So if someone writes to me and says, I saw you speak at XYZ conference. So for example, Ricky, after your excellent social media mastery conference, I got requests from people who saw me speak. Of course, I'm going to accept those. I appreciate that. People have read my book and write to me. And you're right, local people. So if I see we have 50, 100, if we have a lot of contacts in common, that's a yes too. But what I like to see is, for me to accept you, I really like to either know you, know of you. So if it's a fellow influencer, or number three, you send me a customized, very important, customized invitation with your reason. So if someone I don't know, I haven't heard of, with almost no connections in common, sends me a non-customized invitation, which means you just press connect. That is the wrong thing to do. If you want to connect with influencers, you need to either A, follow them, not connect with them. You can follow people to get updates and interact with them, number one. Number two, or if you don't want to follow them, you actually want to connect with them, you send them a customized invitation. Take the time to reach out and really talk to them.
So, I have a question for you.
Yes.
With regards to kind of building up the LinkedIn following and such, I know way back in the day, I'm going to just kind of go out there and make a big confession here on the show. I was told way back in the day that, you had to, what do they call it, have at least 500K connections, and that made you look good, just kind of like how Twitter works. And so my assistant, I asked her to manage my social media connections when I started my agency, but I didn't tell her how to do it, and she went ahead and friended or whatever it's called. She connected with a whole pile of business people. So, she hit me at the 500K. Now, granted, 90% of the people she added were people that I want to be connected with. They're all business related, most of them. But is it one of the questions we ask on the show every single episode is how do you build up your following on blank social media network? Do you feel that it is important to grow to really grow a big list, because you're talking about it as more being an intimate platform?
Well, no, I wouldn't say it's intimate, But I do believe in relationships. And that's very important. You'll hear me say this again and again if you hear me speak, if you work with me one-on-one through my executive speech coaching business. I truly believe that in social media, it is important to have quality and quantity. So you want to have breadth, but you also want to have depth, Dan. You want to have people who you know or you know of, or you want to get to know, and you want to build those deep connections, because it's only when people like you and trust you that they want to do business with you. And I think we focus so much on numbers in social media, and we focus so much on getting as many followers or fans or connections as we can, and we lose sight of the depth of the relationship and the engagement. And those are very important to me. And they're as important, if not more important to me, than how many people I'm connected to. Because I really want to have quality connections with people who will be long-term, lifelong relationships and connections. So that's the important thing. And I think we really need to emphasize that as experts in social media. I really emphasize the relationship building. That's why I'm glad now that LinkedIn has limits on how many people. They didn't in the beginning, but now they have limits on how many invitations you can send out in your lifetime on LinkedIn, and how many people you can be connected to. And I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, you break up a great point about the whole balance between quantity and quality, because I think at the end of the day, we definitely want to build up these deep and heartful and intimate relations, but because we have so many connections on our social media nowadays, back from high school or previous jobs or previous businesses, right. And it's very hard to keep in touch with them to the degree what you're saying, like that intimacy. So right. How do you find you do it for yourself? Like, how do you manage all of your LinkedIn connections and still build a following, but still maintain that intimacy you're talking about?
Okay, so one thing I do is I log in myself every day. Mm-hmm. So I'm on all my social media platforms myself every day. I did try delegating it, but I found that my assistant's voice was not the same as my voice. So I am personally online every single day, as much as I can. If I'm on vacation, then it's a little bit less, but still it's on my phone. And another option you have is an excellent platform like Hootsuite, where you can manage multiple platforms at the same time. My only caveat with that is that you customize your content that you share, as I said before about food going on some and not on others. You customize the content based on the platform. Otherwise, I think Hootsuite's an excellent option. But I do think logging in regularly and being there as if you were there physically in a room full of people. Be there yourself. Be authentic. Be honest. And be current. So when BritX happened, I was on. I was commenting. I was sharing content. Brexit. When I always get the two words mixed up. You want the content to be current, and you want it to be relevant to your field as well. So that really helps.
I guess the next big question is, how do you engage your following?
Okay, so one thing I do is I go through the content every day that other people put up as much as I can. I like content. I comment on things. I make sure that I'm actively engaging with them, but authentically. So if you put up something, I don't really care for it. I'm not going to say I like it. I like things that I genuinely would like. And I comment on things and I appreciate them. So I do try and engage on other people's content. I think there's many people on social media who are quite selfish, and they put a lot of content up on various platforms, but they don't understand the concept, Ricky, correct me if I'm wrong, of reciprocity. You need to reciprocate on social media, on any platform. So if I expect Ricky to engage with me, I will first engage with him and I will give my time and attention to his content. And that's very important to do, especially on LinkedIn. So,
and I'm glad you brought up that. That's something we mention almost every episode. It's called the golden rule of social media, which is do unto others as you want to have them done unto you. So
absolutely.
If you want more engagement, more likes, more comments, more shares, more retweets, more follows, regrams, etc., then first initiate it and do it to others. And like you said, the law of reciprocity. If you do it to others, they'll do it back to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe you can give us some examples of how you've used LinkedIn in your business to land you maybe some speaking engagements or, some clients or any other business opportunities that you found that has worked for you from your LinkedIn profile.
Okay, so one thing I do is I love writing. As you know, I mentioned this, I think, even at the Social Media Mastery Conference. I love writing. When I was unemployed, it was writing that really set me free and got me my first paid gig when I couldn't get anything. So I really think that LinkedIn is an amazing platform to write and post quality content on if you write well. That is so important, and I mentioned this at the conference. You need to learn to write well. You do. You need to learn to write well on your topic, and you need to have the rudimentary foundations of writing well in terms of grammar, spelling, sentence structure, all that stuff. It is more important on LinkedIn than anywhere else because your clientele are there and the people are very high-level, educated people on LinkedIn, so they care about the quality of what they're reading. So it's an excellent platform to post content. Number one, that's something I do. I love writing, and LinkedIn has actually picked up almost every article I've written on there themselves and published it and promoted it. My last article was shared over 1,000 times, which really is influencer level for LinkedIn. That's the first thing I do. So write quality content and publish it on LinkedIn. And if you don't know how to do that, then reach out to someone like me, and that's something I can coach you on through my business. A second thing to do is, I think, in order to actually be the thought leader. So it's not enough to just put up the profile and pretend. I think you actually need to grow your expertise, and as you grow and as you learn, as you did develop, make sure you update your profile. Make sure people know when you're taking a course or a new conference, you can mention it on your update. Make sure people know as you're growing, as you're learning, you interact, you let people know. For example, I am a lifelong learner. I will take courses and go to conferences and read till the day I die. I love it. I believe if you're not learning, you die a little. So that is so important to me. And I always make sure I put that stuff up on LinkedIn. I let people know I was just at Traction Conference. I let people know when I was speaking at Social Media Mastery. Let people know what you're doing, and they will be drawn to you because they will see that you are developing your expertise every day.
Yeah, so I have a question for you. It's one of our newest questions we've added to the show, and it's also probably one of the juiciest ones.
Oh,
do you
awesome.
have a LinkedIn story? Something that sort of captures why you like the platform, maybe a story of either how you got a client or how you made a special connection, like something that really would kind of tell our listeners, like, this is why you have to really rock this platform and why you really need to be on LinkedIn.
So I honestly, knock on wood, I'm very lucky. I get clients through all my social media platforms because A, I'm authentic, as I keep saying, it's so important, and B, I customize the content for the platform because I think that's very important too. So once you do that and you put up quality content, you do get clients. So I have gotten a number of clients through LinkedIn every year. So for example, I had one top CEO executive, very well-known company, send me a message through LinkedIn, saw your profile, I have a speech coming up, can you help me? I write back, yes. We exchange a couple of messages. We have a phone call, consultation or two, and it's done. The sale is closed. It's because they're able to go through your profile and they're able to see, oh, she's been endorsed in public speaking and entrepreneurship and leadership. Oh, all these well-known people have endorsed her. She's got this many followers, and followers are different from contacts. I don't know if your listeners know the difference. So Ricky has followers. I have followers. Unless you have posted long-form posts on LinkedIn, you don't have followers. You only have contacts. So I have followers because I write. Ricky has followers because he writes. So you have contacts and you have followers, just to have a distinction between the two. So yeah, he reached out to me. It was an awesome, short, painless sales process, amazing company. I was really happy to do it. And that happens quite often. Sometimes the sales process is a little more protracted because bigger companies often make you sign lots of things and check you out on lots of different platforms. And I expect that. I expect people to do that. So I have many happy stories, and I'm happy to say most of them end the same way, with people reaching out to me, seeing how great my profile is, and knock on wood, I'm not being humble now, it is. And I work on it, I develop it, I update it as much as I can, I log in every day, I'm consistent. That's a really important key. You're not going to be able to build a powerful brand on LinkedIn unless you are consistent. So important.
Absolutely. And, now we come to the final question, which we love to ask a guest, the money question. A lot of us use social media, and sometimes we don't always see the money coming in directly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with LinkedIn, more than other platforms, it is about business and it is about money. But at the same time, it's not about being spammy or pushing your business.
Right.
So do you have any tips or strategies in terms of how you or how the listeners can actually monetize their LinkedIn profiles without being overly salesy?
Right. So I have two points, because that's a really good question. The first one is to focus your profile. Mm-hmm. I visit profiles every day for people who want to connect with me. And many solopreneurs and small business people, and please don't mind me saying this, everyone out there, I don't mean to offend you if this is you, they have this shiny new object syndrome. So they have so many different businesses, they have so many balls in the air, and they list them all on LinkedIn. And you'll see with me, most of the things I list, I either have philanthropy because I'm a leader in the community and I give back and I'm on boards, and that's important to me. I have that listed. Or I have things that are directly related to my field. That's it. I believe in focusing your profile. I think it really helps you have a much more powerful profile when it comes to the sales process. So if you're dabbling in 5 different multi-level marketing schemes, plus you have this and that, it's going to dilute your brand and it's going to make you look much weaker in the eyes of the LinkedIn level audience. I'm just being honest. Number 2, there is a quote I really love by top business guru Jim Rohn, who actually unfortunately died in 2009. I'm going to read it to your listeners, and then I'm going to post it on my social media platforms later today, so you don't have to copy it down right now. Success is not to be pursued. It is to be attracted by the person you become. I love that. I love that quote. It stayed with me. I read it years ago, and it stayed with me. I believe that LinkedIn is a perfect example of that, because I've not had to chase after people. I've not had to send those spammy messages that I hate when people send me on LinkedIn. It really has that I've become the thought leader. I have become one of the top 100 experts in the world. So business comes to me. Anyone can do this. It is about being focused. It is about working hard. It is about being consistent with your work. You can't work hard one day, take the rest of the month off. I am consistently hardworking and applying and learning consistently. And that has helped me become the thought leader that I always wanted to be. So the business comes to me through LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is that platform that is perfect for that, because you are going to focus your content on business and on professional areas of your life. So I hope that helps your listeners, because these are heartfelt tips. And they really have worked, and I find many people just don't apply them.
Yeah, I love that quote, and I loved all your insights so far. And I know you have a book where you have a lot more insights, a lot more tips, a lot more strategies. Maybe you can quickly, talk about your book as well, Narges.
Yes, thank you very much for that awesome segue. So my book is called Capture the Spotlight. It's available on Amazon worldwide. It was actually a bestseller on Amazon Kindle Canada, so I was very proud of that. It was on the same bestseller list as Dale Carnegie and Michael Port, 2 people I have mad respect for. So that was a huge moment for me. It is a book that focuses on public speaking and presentation skills, because I believe that if you cannot communicate, you cannot do anything. At the core of all leadership and all great achievement is your ability to communicate your ideas, your emotions, your thoughts. To collaborate, you must be able to communicate. And so the book really focuses on that. It's a foundation level book, so anyone can read it, from a high school student to a CEO. And if you do read it, I would also love reviews on Amazon, because that really helps me. So feel free to let me know if you want to do that. So that, and I also do, if people want to reach out to me, I do one-on-one executive speech coaching. You do have to be one of my one-on-one clients. I'm lucky enough to be selective now. You do need to be at a senior executive level, usually, to work with me one-on-one. I do group training. I'm also going to start doing my own events inspired by the amazing Ricky. Mm-hmm. And I do speak professionally as well. So people often pay me to speak all over the world. They fly me out. And I talk about personal branding and leadership and public speaking presentation skills, and also my story, because I built my business from nothing when I was about to apply for welfare because I could not get even $8 an hour, could not get even minimum wage. And one day I realized, okay, no one's going to rescue me. I have to do this myself, and I have to prove all these people wrong. And I did that. And so I know these tips work. I know that if I can do it, anyone can do it. I am not extraordinary. I just work really hard, and I'm passionate about what I do. And when you put those two things together with just a little sprinkling of talent, magic happens.
It does indeed. And magic's happened on this podcast today, Narges. If people wanted to connect with you on a personal level on social media and also through your website, how can they do that?
So on Twitter, Instagram, and a few other platforms, you find me by my name, and I'm sorry it's long, ethnic, and complicated, but my handle is at Narges Nirumvala. My website is much easier to find, and then you can link with me on social media through the icons. It's executivespeak.com. Again, executivespeak.com. And it's me that's tweeting and Facebooking and everything. So, of course, you can also find me on LinkedIn. And if you send me a customized invitation that actually says, from anywhere in the world, I heard you on this awesome podcast with Ricky and Dan, I'd love to connect with you, I will probably say yes. But I would love to get those customized invitations because it's good practice for you too.
There you go. There's the inroad to how to connect with Narges on LinkedIn. So thanks, Narges, for all those tips and insights about LinkedIn, about social media generally. And make sure you connect with her at executivespeak.com. Make sure you connect with her across the social media. And if you're looking to improve your public speaking presentation skills, make sure you get some one-on-one coaching from her as well. So back to you, Dan.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the podcast today. Just want to remind you again, like Ricky did earlier, that you can obviously subscribe to us, leave us a review, and find out more on iTunes. Next episode coming up is YouTube. This is actually a social network. Find out how you can grow your following, subscribers, and really engage more on the YouTube network on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Social Media Mastery Podcast. To get more information about strategies, events, sponsors, and more, visit www.smmastery.com.